Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen. We're here for round 6 of the Next Level Racing GT3 Championship, and we are at one of my favourite UK circuits, Oulton Park. Brilliant track, very narrow, and I mean, it's just got a great layout, does this track. We've currently got Demori on provisional pole here on a 133.272, Vining just 300s behind. Vining seems to be enjoying the circuit here. Up towards the sharp end of the field is Vining. Mercedes seem to be quite quick at Oulton Park as well. Thomas currently in P3, 4 tenths up though, and we will see Pisano in the pits. He has a qualifying ban, so he'll have to start from the back of the field here. But Thomas, half a second up here on this lap so far as he approaches the final sector. Seems to be doing quite well on this lap. We've got Sim and Mello, good to see you, Lord Per-Olav, and the Lord's Son as well. So Lee and Adam, good to see you guys tuning in. Let's see what can the rest of the drivers do. Thomas didn't seem to improve that time around. Tobin currently 2 tenths up here. Let's have a look at the standings in just a moment. Now Tobin is approaching the finish line. He's still 3 tenths up, so this might be a good one here for Tobin. And he's going to cross the line there. Up into P6 he goes, 134 flat from Tobin. In fact, only 300ths off of Faulkner in P5. You can see there one of the Mercedes exiting the pits. That seems to be Demori. Sorry, no, not Demori. Who is that? That was one of the Ferraris. Was it Faulkner? I'm not sure who that was. It may have actually been Demori. The top two still separated by just 300ths here in this qualifying session. Who else is up on their time? Absolutely no one. Looks like Pryor has just started the lap. I believe Pryor still probably racing with one arm. I'm not sure if it's recovered that quickly, but he's doing a great job. I'm sure when he goes back to using both arms, it's going to feel really odd. Lord saying good luck, Lee saying good luck to Carl, Esselink, Thomas, Vining, Faulkner, and Lager, also known as Packham, currently in P8 here. In fact, Faulkner 2 tenths up on this lap as he now goes down towards the final corner here. I believe it's Lodge Corner as final corner. Very easy to run wide, as Faulkner almost does there, staying just within track limits, 2 tenths up, and this is possibly going to keep him in the exact same qualifying position. Yep, P5 there, still for Faulkner in the top 7, all within a second of each other. DeMarco in the throw now into the pits. Ah, that's who it was. It was DeMarco. Pitchick in P4 currently. No improvement so far on this lap. Gallet P11. The Porsches are really quick here at Oulton Park, but Gallet and Besselink, the only 2 drivers in the Porsche at the moment. They are struggling to get up the field. But Gallet 7 tenths up. This is going to put him around P8 here. If he can find any more time through the final corner, he could be put even further up here, but I think it's going to be P8 for Gallet. There we go. Brilliant improvement, getting within that second mark to Demori, still on provisional pole. And looks like Meshigovsky is returning the car to the pits now. Packham, oh, Meshigovsky into the barriers in the background there. Seems to be struggling with lap times. He's down in P14, 2.6 seconds off. Let's see if we can go on board with one of the drivers before they're about to start a lap here. Pitchick, if he continues, can we get an on board with him? Yes, we can. It's coming up towards turn 1 now, down to 3rd gear, making sure you use that inside curve and all the exit as well. There's not much runoff you can use at Oulton Park, but in certain corners there are. Coming down into turn 2, there's another brilliant corner. Cascades, then all the way up towards Island Bend. This is very tricky, easy to run wide here. If you clip a bit of the grass, they're pretty much going into that wall of the death that you see on the exit, but then they're up towards Shell. Oh my god, commentator's curse. It happened. Okay, that was unexpected, but through Shell now, it's got such a camber to it, Shell that you really need to use the inside line as soon as possible. For most corners, you'd obviously be on the outside, then go towards the inside at the apex, but for Shell Oils, pretty much go straight towards the inside of the track and use the camber to help get the car turned. Now into sector 3 we go. Up towards Druids now. Very fast corner, this double right-hander. And a bit of exit. Curve as well, not much though, and down towards the final corner now. Like I said, you can see the camber to this corner, it's pretty much blind on the exit. You come over the crest, and there we go. You've got the curve right in front of you, but for Pitchick, obviously not going to be an improvement. But there is a lap of Oulton Park for you. Let's see who else is up for improvement. Demori 3/10 up as he exits the final corner. This looks like, is he going to get into the 132s? It's going to be very close, almost there into the 132s, but at 133.047 for Demori. Galley another 10th up here as he approaches the final corner. Now Thomas a 10th up. Now Thomas had about half a second in him, but seems like he can't put it together at the moment anymore. And time in this qualifying session is running out. Now qualifying for this race is going to be very important. We know how difficult it is to overtake here at Oulton Park. And Galley does improve 134.050 there from Galley. And Thomas 2/10 up here. He needs to find a bit more time. Vining 3/10 up, but lost a bit there on the exit of Shell's hairpin. It's so easy to do so, especially if you go in too deep. You can be up on time on exit, but on entry, but lose it all on the exit. And Vining coming up towards the second chicane here. I believe it's Hislops and Nickelbrook he's now exiting. And up towards Druids as well. What is he? Yeah, but he's still up on his lap. A 10th up is Vining. This is going to put him closer to Demori, but he needs more than that to get pole position here. But Demori is sat in the pit, so that's his qualifying session over, and I don't think Vining's going to be able to improve here, so that's him done. P2 there from Vining. He does improve slightly, but it's not enough there, just under a 10th. He improves by Pitchick. A 10th up here. Now this could be close between Pitchick and Thomas. Very, very close. DeMarco currently in P8. DeMarco crosses the line there, up into P6 he goes. Brilliant improvement there from DeMarco. Pitchick is coming up towards the penultimate set of corners. Druids now, and I believe he is, I believe he's the last one. No, he's got Packham behind him, but Packham I don't think is up on his time. Pitchick coming up towards the final corner now. 2/10 up. It's going to be very close here. Thomas in P3 still. What can Pitchick do? I think he needs a bit more than 2/10 here, so I believe it'll still be P4 there for Pitchick. And there we go, across the line. Let's just get rid of this very quickly. There we go. Demori P1, Vining P2, and Thomas P3. We'll be back in just a moment to start this 1 hour race at Oulton Park. So, onto the formation lap we go here for the 1 hour race at Oulton Park. We are in the evening, 7 PM here, sunset time. Well, we've got the sun getting lower and lower now. It's pretty much in the driver's eyes, as you can see, coming down into turn 2. Let's get a quick grid walk with the drivers we have on track today. So, Demori starting on pole here. Vining in P2 on the front row as well. I think the highest qualifying position for Vining yet in this championship. Thomas there, P3 on the second row with Pitchik in P4. Faulkner in P5 there, alongside DeMarco. And we've got a bit more mix of cars for this race, not just only Ferraris, but DeMarco P6, Tobin P7, Gallet P8, Hacken P9, Van Hoorn P10 there for Astro Racing Team, got Raggy in P11 there, Besselink in P12, so a few RKM drivers in this championship. Pryor, one-armed Pryor we'll call him, in P13, Zano in P14, who of course had his qualifying ban he had to serve, and Meshagovsky in P15. I believe Elshaug has retired, he's not feeling too well at the moment, so we hope he has a speedy recovery. Yeah, track temp, ambient temp, well, exactly the same at the moment. It's not too hot and not too cold, so ideal temperatures, although you would probably want it slightly higher. You can see all the marbles on the exit of the track there from the qualifying session we had previously. You do not want to be driving over those whatsoever. Some corners, very difficult to avoid them. And of course we will have driver of the day voting up later on in this race. During the pit window it will open. And here we go, we've got the drivers lining up side by side now. Demori and Vining on the front row. Who's going to get the lead into turn 1? Will Demori hold on, or will Vining be able to go around the outside? Demori will obviously have the inside line, but if Vining can get a good start, it's not much that Demori will be able to do. Turn 2, obviously a left-hander. Here we go, we're about to get going now. We should be green any moment. It's not a long run up towards turn 1.
Green light.
There we go, we are green. Vining off to a good start. Demori now maybe starting back in, but no, they're still side by side here and almost making contact there. Looks like that is Pitchik a bit sideways on the exit of turn 1, but it's Vining now into the race lead. Demori down into P2, Thomas still in P3, Pitchik in P4, but what a start there from Vining, moving up into P1 already, with Demori now starting down into P2, and is that Hoban looking for a move there, going through Island Bend, and always a bit wide there onto the marbles, and that's what really loses your grip. We saw that happen to Pitchik in the qualifying session, and Hoban now being pressured here by Gallet. Look how much time they've lost to the pack up in front, but Hoban now able to successfully defend here, and we've got, oh wow, we've got some track limit bollards flying in the air. But it looks like, oh, up ahead we've got Demori, and I believe that's Thomas. Thomas getting past Demori here, so Demori dropping down a couple positions since the start. We've got the tyre barriers there knocked over on its side. That's going to be maybe some damage caused for the cars, and maybe a track limit warning. And Thomas having to defend now. Demori looking for the inside line, but nowhere to go here through Druids, but it's sort of forced Thomas to go wide there for the second part of Druids, and Demori's going to have a run coming up towards the final corner. Looks like he might be able to go late on the brakes, but no, backs out of the move. Then he's just playing the patient game, but you can see how narrow Oulton Park is. There's really not enough space for drivers to get past, and the main thing they have to do is rely on either themselves to get a really good run out of the previous corner into a heavy braking zone, or they have to rely on the driver in front to make a mistake. And look how late on the brakes is Demori. They're going through turn 2. That was very, very close between those two. That could have easily ended up in contact there through Cascades, but through Island Bend once again. And DeMori running slightly wide there. Drivers all following in behind, and Vining's already pulled a 2-second gap to Thomas behind. So Vining leading the race and pulling away here. And we didn't get to look up the standings just yet, but we will have a look at them later on. And oh, DeMori getting the rear out, but well done there from Pitchik to avoid making contact there with DeMori. And now Pitchik having to fend off Faulkner behind. But look at this train of red cars. We've got a few, well, Pitchik the odd one out there, and I think maybe Faulkner the odd one out as well. But he's got a bit of red on his car, would allow him more of a, I think, a maroon sort of colour. I don't know actually. Oh, that's Tobanov. Looks like he caught the exit curb out of what's the corner called? Knickerbrook, and he's into the barriers, but he's continued. He's now all the way down in P13. Looks like Besselink down in P15, currently running in last on the back of Meshigovsky. Looks like he's made contact with someone earlier on this race, I believe. No, he's made contact with the barrier somewhere. Oh, that's Van Hoorn round. Van Hoorn's lost the car, so he's facing the wrong way now. He's last position. We go back to Vining. He's pulled away slightly here from DeMori. He's reeling in. Sorry, go back to Thomas. He's pulled away from DeMori here, and he's reeling in Vining ever so slightly. But that last lap, Vining was 2 tenths slower. Yeah, he still has the fastest lap of the race. Thomas, however, that last lap was invalid, but he would have taken the fastest lap if it was a valid lap there. Let's have a look. Faulkner still on the back of Pitchik, going through Showers. And they're still very, very close. DeMarco sticking with them as well. What have we got here? Packham down in P8. Trying to fight Gallet for position. Nowhere to go through the first chicane. Britain's is probably my favourite chicane. Is it weird to have a favourite chicane? I don't know. But it's such a good corner. Set of corners, I should say. And oh, who's that off? That is Raggy and P10 there off the circuit. Looks like he may have outbroken himself, but he's lost time. He's wide once again, and that's Pisano who's going to sail past here. Almost getting onto the grass himself as well, but Raggy not able to do anything. He's picked up some damage. Tobin, you can see in the background now, catching up. Pisano obviously had a qualifying ban. He's now making his way through the field. He's got some work to do here. The race leader, Vining's already heading up towards turn 1, but Thomas closing in on him now. That last lap from Thomas, 1:33.6, and he's now got the fastest lap of the race. So that last lap, 4 tenths quicker than our current race leader, Vining. You can see the gap has now come down to 1.3, 1.4 seconds here. Thomas is on the charge, and Vining picking up some dirt or some grass on the exit of turn 2, Cascades. Lord Pearl saying something happened to Rapuri's at the back now. Carnage? Nah, there hasn't been any carnage. It's been quite clean here, but Van Hoorn down in P15 and Besselink in P14. I think those are the only two that made massive mistakes, but Besselink on the back of Meshigovsky, unable to get past yet. But all wide onto the grass there, up towards Share-Oils, and he's not going to get the car stopped. Oh, he's avoided the barriers though. That was lucky. Luckily, there was gravel there to slow the car down. But Van Hoorn is now caught up, and that's what we were talking about earlier. Going wide through Share-Oils, getting onto the marbles, and then not being able to slow the car in time. Can end up in... well, with your car into the wall, and looks like Pryor's dropping down the order here, down into P12. Looks like he's lost the car. We've seen cars lose it here on the exit before, and there hasn't been any contact, so he's lost it himself. That exit curb there, through that right-hander, in fact he's down to last place now, but that exit curb on the right-hander of Knickerbrook, so deadly. If you get over onto the grass a bit too much, the car bottoms out, and well, there's nothing you can do. The front is the front will be lifted in the air, and that's it. Once it comes back down, or once the car starts to bounce, the rear goes as well. So Vining's still in the race lead, but Thomas is really catching up to him now. Vining a bit quicker that last time round compared to his personal best, but compared to Thomas, 5 tenths slower, half a second slower. Thomas with a 133.3, but Demori's catching back up as well, 133.1. These three RKM drivers punching back up here. They're close to the start. They gapped each other afterwards, a few laps in, but they're now closing back up. And you can see in the background Pitchick and Faulkner catching up too. And I think this will be, and once again, a 5-car battle with Vining, Thomas and Demori continuing to battle. It looks like Pisano just got past Packham there into the braking zone of, oh well, even before the braking zone, so into Hilltop, the straight before his lops, before the chicane. But he's on a charge here, looking to get P7 off of Gallet here. We go back towards the top two. Look how close they are. And Thomas using all of the track available here. We'll go have a look at Gallet. And, oh, actually, no, we won't, because that doesn't seem to be working. But looks like Pisano has got past Gallet. Up into P7 he goes, and the top two still very, very close here. But Demori losing a bit of time now to the top two. He's made a mistake. Pitchick has caught up once again. In fact, no, they seem to have lost some time as well. Pitchick and Faulkner. They're still batting for position. In the background, DeMarco not able to keep up with them for much longer. Pryor on the back of Van Horn. We'll see if we can sort out the other battle. Yeah, it was working just a minute ago. That's technology for you, 8. I'm going through Britain's, these two Mercedes, very, very close. In fact, Demori has now caught back up to them. And Demori had a good qualifying, started on pole, but he's now dropped down to P3, of course. And he's got some work to do to try and get back up the order, but he seems to be making too many mistakes. For Demori at the moment, it's consistency that's his main issue. He catches up on one lap, and then makes a mistake and loses a lot of time, but that's Oulton Park for you. Typical British circuit with no room for error. And it does make things very, very interesting when you've got tracks like these. It stops drivers going over the limits, and it does provide some brilliant racing, especially with narrow circuits where there's not much room to overtake. Oh, here we go. I think we should have our secondary screen sorted now, and we go down towards P11 very briefly because Tobin is on the back of Raggy here. He's got some, well, both these drivers have some damage, but Tobin's making his way back up the field, and surely he's not going to go for a move into Island Bend, though. He has a look, but is it going to phase Raggy whatsoever? No, it's not. He knows that Tobin can't go for a move here, and Island Bend, through Island Bend, now through Sherwood. No driver's making any mistakes here, and it's not really a place for overtaking either. We go back towards the top three here. Demori catching back up to these three once again, but he needs to keep it consistent. As you can see there, through that second chicane, that's where he seems to be losing the most time. Through Hislop and Knickerbrook, he's losing lots of time through there, and I think we may see that in Sector 3, that Demori is possibly slower than the two Mercedes in front. Let's have a look at the other battles going on track now. Here we go. We've got Packham and Gallet battling. We've got Tobin and Raggy as well. Packham has been stuck behind Gallet for a while here. In terms of lap times, Gallet is lapping about a tenth slower than Packham, but Packham just not found any way to get past. These two Mercedes, Vining and Thomas, still very, very close. Obviously, they are in the same esports team, but I don't think there'll be any team orders between these two. And Demori also in the same esports team now. Recently been added to, or recruited I should say, to the RKM team, and DeMarco, actually no, Faulkner has lost lots of time to Pitchick. He's 2.7 seconds down. So something has happened to DeMarco. Now we will have a look at what happened to Van Hoorn and Besselink early on in the race, and looks like Tobin has got past Raggy now, so up into P10 he goes, back to the top 3 here. Demori losing lots of time now to the top 2. He's really not as consistent as he should be here to be able to stick with these 2 Mercedes in front. Let's go on board with the Mercedes of Thomas. Yeah, slightly on board on his front right wheel cam. Coming through Cascades now, using a bit of a curve on the inside to hook the car around. That curve on the inside really does help the car to rotate. You can see how close Thomas is to the limit here. Right on the edge of the track. Obviously not through Island Bend because that's where all the marbles are. Bit of oversteer on the exit of Shell Oils. Heading up to Britain's using that curb on the inside. No issues for curbs whatsoever, but getting the rear out, and Vining's now pulling away slightly due to Thomas's mistakes. The gap between Vining and Thomas 1 second, and Thomas and Demori also 1 second. Slightly different lines for the 2 there. Through his lots of Knickerbrook, and Thomas a bit indecisive with the gears as well, as we heard on entry to his lot. Through Druids, Vining's made a mistake, getting the rear out slightly. I think he was carrying a bit too much speed there on entry, and Thomas is now caught right back up into the braking zone for the final corner. Thomas just using a bit more track here than Vining is. Maybe about an inch or 2. Maybe a bit more than that actually. I think on the sim it is quite hard to judge. Probably more like half a foot, especially on the exits. Not through there though, not through Cascades. Looks like Vining maximising his exit speed, and we can see Packham still on the back of Garay. Pisano now taking the fastest lap of the race, which is a 1:33.1. Actually, yeah, 1:33.145 for Demori. Oh, Faulkner's lost the car. What's happened to Faulkner? He's dropping right down, and oh no, he's ended up, oh god, Faulkner, there we go, retirement there for Faulkner, and it's a mistake from Vining as well, as he goes onto the grass. Thomas is going to get past, and looks like Demori will get past as well. Vining's going to have to slot back behind, and Pitchick closing right up, but that was on the exit of Island Bend, where Faulkner obviously went wide, ended up in the wall pretty much. That's pretty much what it looked like, and there was no going back. No going back for him. Let's have a look at what's going on down in last position. It looks like it's Van Hoorn, Besselink and Pryor all battling for position here. Towards the back of the field. I think we've had another retirement. Lord Pearl saying rear cam is such a good angle. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. We need that on console. We definitely need that on console as well. Yeah, I think Meshergovsky not in the race anymore, which is quite unfortunate. He did seem to be struggling with the car earlier on in qualifying as well. Yeah, hopefully we do get some more drivers for next season. And Demori's made a mistake. Why? That's the same mistake we saw Faulkner make. And this is going to allow Thomas to now pull away. But Vining's got a great exit and nowhere to go at this section of the track. And he holds on. Let's have a look what else is going on. You can still see Van Hoorn, Besselink and Pryor battling the position. In fact, Van Hoorn's now pulling away from Besselink and Pryor. He seems to have better pace now that he's got back into the rhythm of things. He's lapping 1:35.7. In fact, only a tenth the previous lap quicker than Besselink. It looks like Raggy has got past Packham. Packham's made a mistake. Raggy now up into P9. Let's go back towards Pitchick and Vining, actually. Vining losing some time to Demori now. These top four all chopping and changing positions. I think for Thomas, if Demori continues to make mistakes, it's going to be a bit of an easy win for Thomas, although we've seen how easy it is to make mistakes even while lapping on your own with no pressure behind you. Van Hoorn now has pulled a sizable gap there to Besselink, 2.3 seconds. Besselink has got one armed prior, just a second behind. Besselink needs to step up his game here. He's got two arms and he's struggling to pull away from prior, but I believe he does have damage on his car. Now, for those that don't understand, prior does have two arms. He's just got a broken bone, so don't worry about that. But yeah, Besselink has some splitter damage on that Porsche. Definitely taking the correct line through show oils. But Prize sticking with him, not letting him out of sight whatsoever. Looking like the chicane's quite slow there for Besselink. I think that's where he's losing the most time. We can actually compare lap times between these two now as well. So Prior into Sector 1, he is actually 4/10ths quicker. Sector 2, he is 2/10ths quicker, and Sector 3, Prior is about a 10th or just under a 10th quicker than Besselink. So that explains why the chicanes and what has happened to Prior. We were just looking at him. He's 12 seconds back. Is he in the wall? No, he's kept it out of the wall, but he's had a spin somewhere. And Besselink relieved of that pressure now, but Tobin on the back of Gallet. Let's go on board with him. We've also got P3 and P4 continuing to battle here. That's Pitchick and Vining. I'm saying one-armed Prior, yeah. I mean, what else can I call him? I could just call him Prior, but we need a nickname. We need a nickname. One-armed Prior. There we go, we've got the pit window open now. We will bring up the driver of the day voting. Look at the sun there on board from Tobin. Yeah, let's see. Driver of the day voting is now open. There we go, link is in the chat. Be sure to vote before the end of the race. And look how close Tobin is onto the back of that Project Reborn Porsche of Gallet. He's looking towards the inside here, up towards the final corner. Easy going to commit, he is. He's got the inside line. Gallet looking for a switchback. You can see him there in the rear view mirror. Easy going to try and go for it, he is. He's got the better exit speed, but Tobin defending the inside line, coming up towards turn one. Keeps the car in the middle, and obviously he's got choice of line. Yeah, and there we go. Makes it stick. Up into P7 goes Tobin. Now looking at Pitchick and Vining, that gap is about 1.3 seconds now as well. Besselink into the pits for an early pit stop. Probably wise from him, considering he's got some damage. Gallet looking to try and get back past Tobin here. But we will have a look at the replay. No, we won't, not yet. Looks like Pisano up ahead of DeMarco now, up into P5. Pisano's on a charge here, lapping quicker than our race leader that last time around. And next target for Pisano is Pitchick in P4, just 4 seconds in front. That last time around, he's 4/10ths quicker than Pitchick. It'll take some time for him to catch up. But he's in a bit of clean air now, so I think until he catches up to the Pitchick, he'll keep it out on track, and then maybe once he catches up to the Aston Martin, he'll have a chance to pit and go for the undercut. Gallet and Tobin still battling for position. Gallet's not letting him out of sight whatsoever. He's stuck with him, and Tobin now diving into the pits for an early pit stop, which is actually quite interesting as well. Has he got it stopped in time? Yes, he has. But yeah, interesting from Tobin. He obviously does have a bit of damage from the spin we saw earlier. But that means he's going to be on his second set of tyres for much longer in the second stint. That's probably going to have an effect on him in the later stages of the race, where tyre wear really comes into play, and that is Pryor just up ahead, who has pitted as well. We go back towards Pitchick and Vining, still separated by a second here. Let's see if we can bring up a replay of what happened to Besselink and it was Van Hoorn, I believe, earlier on this race. It may have been into turn one that Besselink had a bit of contact. Was it into turn one? Doesn't look like it was, actually. It looks like it was somewhere else. Oh! Yeah, Besselink seemed like it was a fault of his own, unfortunately. But here we go. We've got the replay up now. Oh, coming down into turn two, cascades. You can see everyone keeping it nice and clean there. But up towards Shell Oils, this is where we've seen Besselink make this mistake quite a few times. Carries way too much speed onto the grass, gets a rear out, nowhere to go there, and catches. That's where Meshugovsky ended up. Oh, he just missed the barriers there, but Besselink facing the wrong way. And luckily, Meshugovsky with some good evasive action didn't pick up any damage from that, I don't think. Yeah, that's where Besselink dropped right down towards the back of the field. And he's now currently P12. But 20 seconds back to Tobin and P11. We go back to Pitchick and Vining. These two are even closer than before. They could maybe a bit late on the brakes there from Pitchick into the final corner. Had to overslow the car a bit, but into the pits he goes. And there we go. Possibly trying for an undercut now. Pisano following him in fact, which is quite interesting. Oh, him, I would have kept it out for a bit longer, so he would have been in even more clean air. But Demori keeping that 2-second gap to Thomas. That last lap he was a 10th quicker, so he seems to have found some more consistency now as we approach the halfway mark. Maybe it was just nerves at the start of the race, or he wasn't happy with the tyres or how the car was handling at the start. But now that everything's warmed up and settled down, he's found a bit more time here, but not the best chicane there from Demori. Really struggled to get over the curbs there in that chicane. Lee St. Paul, yeah, poor Cody, poor Besselink. Huge spin there from him, and we'll see what happened to Van Hoorn as well. Where did he drop right down the order? Well, I know it was through Druids, I believe. And I think he just ran wide, actually. Yep, he did. But Demori, that last time around was 2/10 slower. Yep, so I think it was into that chicane where Domenico lost most of the time, but still 2.5 seconds back to Thomas. Not too far whatsoever, and we've seen in the championship that pit stops can play a huge effect on the drivers' positions in the race. We've seen drivers make mistakes in the pits, easy to stop incorrectly in your pit box, which takes longer to get up on the jacks. And it looks like Gallet now into the pits. And yeah, 2 seconds, 2.6 seconds, absolutely nothing in terms of a whole race distance. And it looks like Thomas is approaching some traffic now. I believe that is Raggy in P10. Yes, it is. And he hasn't actually repaired his damage in the pits, but this could back up Thomas into Domenico slightly. Raggy's going to have to move out the way shortly here for blue flags. There we go, blue flags being waved. Van Hoorn now into the pits as well. And speaking of Van Hoorn, we'll take a look at what happened to him going through Druids. Here we go. Up towards Druids we go. This is very early on in the race where Van Hoorn made this crucial mistake. You can see here on the brakes, carrying a bit too much speed, getting the rear out, and there we go, onto the grass. Look at how bouncy it is there off the exit. I'm sure he's got a minor he's got minor whiplash after that one. But yeah, he dropped right down the order, or towards the back end of the field after that mistake. Thomas still in the lead. The top 5 actually still yet to pit. And Pitchick has lost quite a bit of time to Pisano. Pisano's got ahead after the pit stops. Now, has Pisano changed tyres? Let's see if we can work it out from the pit stop times. So Pisano 49 seconds in the pits. I don't think we can work it out. That's only 3 seconds between Pitchick and Pisano in the pits. Sorry, 2 seconds between Pitchick and Pisano in the pits. So tyre change is an extra 5 seconds. I think it's just Pisano has had a better pit stop. He stopped in his box correctly, got going once the car has been dropped off the jacks. There we go, halfway into the race now. And the race leader, Thomas, has pulled the trigger. So into the pits he goes. Thomas, he was leading, like I said, and down into P4 now. Where will he emerge? Will Packham... No, actually, I think Packham might get past. But he still has to serve his pit stop. And is that a change in position? Looks like Van Hoorn ahead of Tobin. Tobin's made a mistake somewhere. Where is he? Yeah, down P11 now. And yep, Thomas is out. Packham into the pits. Thomas in some clean air, so perfect pit stop there for him. 49.7 seconds spent in the pit lane. Only 3/10 slower than Pisano. That's not really going to affect him too much, but Pisano's on a charge, as we know. And there he is in the background, only 7.5 seconds behind. He's really caught up. And maybe those few tenths could add up here. We have to wait and see. 28 minutes left to go, and Pisano, all he has to do now, well, I say all he has to do, he's got to catch up to Thomas, which isn't going to be easy to do. But he's got to try and overtake him as well. And on this track, it's not going to be easy at all. There's some of the drivers not having their nation, their flags set. let's see what other data we can see. Here we go. So we've got the personal best of all the drivers as well. Pisano with the fastest lap of the race, actually. Pardon me. Yeah, Pisano with the fastest lap of the race. There we go, 132 now from Pisano, lapping even quicker. 132, the only drivers to make it into the 132s, and well, if you can do 132's race pace, what could he have done in qualifying? That could have been for Pisano in quali. But he's on a charge now. The gap only. Well, he's got Demori in front, so he's got another driver to deal with, but it's come down to about 6 seconds to Thomas now, so he's reeling him in. Where is Demori? Demori still, well, that's pretty much exactly the same time when, well, before they had both pitted. 2.6 seconds, 2.7 seconds. Looks like Demori's lost a bit more time. No, it's just a concertina effect. Chopping and changing there, so still 2.6 seconds is the gap between Thomas and Demori. And actually, I've just noticed Packham and Raggy now battling for position. We saw Raggy get the overtake done on Packham earlier on, but maybe not repairing that damage for Raggy has been a wrong decision. Demori, oh, he's lost the car. Oh no, he's gonna have to do a 3-point turn here. There we go, got it going, but into the gravel, he dropped right down, and that's gifted Pisano position. That's helped Pisano out massively now. Demori down into P6. Pisano's going to be happy with that. Only 6 seconds now to Thomas. He's reeling Thomas in here. This could be a very close one towards the end of the race. But we go back to Packham and Raggy. On board the Ferrari of Packham here. Now remember to vote for your driver of the day. Voting will end once the race is over, once the checkered flag is waved. Marco now to the pits as well. I believe Pitchick didn't, sorry, not Pitchick, Demori, no, not even Demori, Pisano did make the overtake on DeMarco before the pit stop, so you won't have to worry about him. But Packham losing some time there to Raggy, mainly through cascades. See, there's slightly different lines to the chicane, and Packham using a bit too much curb there, picking the rear end of the car out, and he's lost all that time that he gained. Where is DeMarco now? Where will he come out on track? Looks like it's going to be P5. Is that Demori now coming down into turn 1? Yes, it is. DeMarco now out of the pits, but Demori's got a bit more speed coming down towards turn 2. But 2 seconds separating P5 and P6 now. Demori has also got some work to do to recover those lost positions. It's not going to be easy. He's got to get past DeMarco, and Vining is quite a way ahead here. We go back towards P9 for now. Packham on the back of, well, not directly on the back of Raggy just yet. You can see Van Hoorn in the distance, 3.6 seconds back. That last time round he was a whole second quicker than Packham. This could be very close as well. Van Hoorn now closing back in. Where is Tobin? Because he's not 1,300 seconds behind. That's not correct, obviously. Let's see, how far exactly is Tobin behind? About 4, 5 seconds. Oh no, it's more. It's more now. Into the wall, heavy damage. We've seen Tobin lose the car earlier on in this race, and he's done it again. I think he's going to have to return to the car to the pits after that. There's no way he's going to drive that round. Yep, there we go. Tobin into the wall. And I think the commentator's curse today has been a bit stronger than usual. Gone on board. Well, we've gone to look at Tobin, and as soon as we did, well, we made a mistake shortly after. Packham onto the back. Yep, retirement there for Tobin. Packham onto the back of Raggy once more. How long can Raggy hold off Packham here? Packham seems to have the pace to get past, but we've seen him make too many mistakes. Maybe just pushing the car a bit too much. But his best bet for now is just to try and stick with Raggy rather than try and force an overtake. Because look, there's not much room. He's going to look down the inside of Cascade. He's going to stick with him. Headlights now coming on for the drivers. Pryor into the pits here. So Pryor, has he picked up some damage? I don't think. Oh, I think he might have. I think Pryor might have actually picked up some damage as well. But Raggy holding his own here, keeping the pace that he needs to stay in front of Packham. Van Hoorn that last time around slower than Packham, actually 6/10 slower. So Van Hoorn with a bit of inconsistency there, or maybe just lack of pace. His fastest lap, Van Hoorn's fastest lap this race is a 34.1, and Packham's last lap was a 34.1. In fact, Packham's last lap was also his fastest lap of the race, but this time around it was not. It was a 34.7, and Van Hoorn a 36.0. He's really struggling here now, is Van Hoorn making one too many mistakes. Look at the gap now, 5.4 seconds from Packham to Van Hoorn. So he's really dropped right off. Then where is Besselink? Heading towards turn 1 now, so not really close to anyone at the moment. Packham still on the back of Raggy. And you can see the top two now, 5 seconds separating those two. Thomas has put his foot down a bit more, but that last time round, oh, Demori's lost the car again. He just had yellow flags out there for Demori. He's lost time now to DeMarco. And into the pits he goes. Oh, he's picked up a drive-through penalty. And oh my god, I think he sped into the pits. Oh no, he didn't. Luckily, he got it stopped just in time. But that's what it was. There was yellow flags because Demori went off track and picked up a drive-through penalty. But I think he'll stay ahead of Gallet nevertheless. You can hear the Porsche in the distance. Yeah, no, Gallet exiting the final corner now. And Demori is out. But he's going to have a bit of a lonely race towards the end. Just one too many mistakes here for Demori this race. Just put him in a bad position. But yeah, Pisano is consistently closing in on Thomas. But is there enough time left in the race for him to get past? If neither driver makes a mistake, will he be able to close that gap? We go, got a split screen view now between the two drivers. So it's Packham on the left, and on the right hand side we have Raggy. Still neither driver able to get to, well, Packham's still not able to get close enough to get past Raggy. And Raggy doesn't really need to defend just yet. Because Packham at the moment isn't really a massive threat. Although he is within a second. Hasn't really been on the bumper for more than a couple corners. On Raggy's bumper for more than a couple corners. And even then, the track's just so narrow. Raggy can place his car in the correct places, and Packham just isn't able to get past. But this could be a good opportunity. Raggy wide through on entry through the final corner. But no, once again, still not close enough into turn 1. Had to lift there at the apex massively. I think Packham turned in a bit too early. I'm going through Cascades. Look at the entry speed he's got. But no, took too much curve. Bounced the car slightly wide. And he had to correct. Make a small correction there to avoid losing the rear end. Just a bit of hit and miss between these two. The gap between the top two now, 4.6 seconds. It is coming down massively. I think that's about a second in 3 minutes that Pisano has closed in on Thomas. The last time I checked it was around 19 minutes left of the race, and the gap was about 5.5 seconds. So let's say a second every 3 minutes. That's about 2 laps, a second every 2 laps, which does make sense actually, because last time around Pisano is half a second quicker. So I think my math will add up. So yeah, Pisano has a good chance of catching Thomas towards the end of this race. He's got to get past him then, which isn't going to be easy like we mentioned before. You see varying lines between these two through Cascades, but I think Packham sacrifices the exit for the entry. He's got so much entry speed compared to Raggy, but on the exit there through Cascades he just isn't able to get the power down as early. And Price in the pits, so I think that is a retirement from him, unfortunately. Once again, be sure to vote for your driver of the day. We still need some more votes. We've only got I think 1 vote in so far. So for those that are watching, hurry up and vote. We need to have some more votes in by the end. At least 5 or 6 votes towards the end. But it looks like Thomas is now putting his foot down a bit more. The gap's still 4.6, 4.9 seconds now between the top two. Last time around, what did Thomas do? It was a 33.2 and Pisano's a 33.3. Yeah, in fact, Pisano is a 10th slower that last time. I think Thomas would have been looking at the gaps, and he would have been saying to himself, well, he needs to push now, because Pisano would be catching him up by the end of the race. It doesn't seem to be the case if it stays like this, with Thomas now lapping slightly quicker than Pisano. And also talking about Vining. Still 2 seconds back to Pitchuk. We saw him make a mistake. He had the race lead earlier on in the first stint. Made a mistake out of what corner was it? I believe it was on the exit of Britain's. He was just a bit too wide. He got into the grass, and that allowed not only Thomas but Demori through as well. But Demori picking up a drive-through penalty, making quite a few mistakes this race, as drops himself down into P6. And I think that's the meatball flag being waved. Is that for vining? Maybe for headlights. He doesn't have his headlights on. Oh, there we go. Now he does. He's realised. But yeah, we are slowly getting in towards night time. It's 8:47 PM at Oulton Park. Pack him right on the back of Raggy now. Nowhere to go once again. He's been so close, yet so far. And I think that's the worst place to be. You're right there, but you just can't get close enough for an overtaking opportunity. And with time running out, Packen's going to have to take this into his own hands. No, he doesn't. That is Raggy losing it on the exit curb. We've seen a number of drivers do the exact same thing. And Van Hoorn just finding enough space to drive past. Where's Besselink though? This could allow Besselink to get... No, Besselink is way too far back. So he's not going to get past. And in fact, I think that is Pidchick now coming to the lap. Besselink here, that means... he has been lapped from P1, 2 and 3 already. I believe he's going to have to move out the way on this section of the track up towards Druids. Maybe not, maybe after Druids. Yeah, I assume he's going to do it after Druids here. Probably would have been a bit smarter to do it beforehand, but not really time lost for Pidchick there. Although Vining behind, you can see 1.8 seconds behind, is closed in by a tenth or two. Not really that much time, but that means Wrestling's going to have to let Vining through as well. And yeah, Thomas has really put his foot down now. He's consistently lapping a tenth quicker than Pisano. That gap's slowly opening up once again. So Thomas maybe preserving his tyres or taking it easy until Pisano started to really close back in to Thomas. And there we go, Besselink moving out the way for Vining into the final. Into the final 10 minutes of the race. And the top two at the moment look like they are going to stay where they are, barring any mistakes from Thomas, but he's been absolutely faultless since the start. And you watch, as soon as I say that, he'll make a mistake now. If he does, he's going to murder me after the broadcast. They'll be like, why did you watch me? I was on my own. Why did you go on board with me? So I think just to save that hassle, we will kick off of the race leader. Did he make a mistake? No, he didn't. Okay, Pisano now actually closing in a bit this lap. 33.3 from actually 33.3 from the both of them. They're not closing in by anything. No, it's still 4.9 seconds. It looked like he was a bit closer. It did come down to about 4.6. That's just because they are, of course, on different parts of the circuit. Pitching and Vining, a very similar pace here as well. In fact, Pitchick was quicker than Vining that last time around. Vining losing a bit of time now. For the rest of the field, doesn't seem to be... There's too much going on. Of course, there's not a huge amount of drivers on the grid tonight, unfortunately. Hopefully we can have some more next season. There's been a lot of drivers that have had things coming up across all championships. But that's what happens with life, unfortunately. Summer is usually, well, towards this time, it's pretty much summer now, isn't it? So that's usually where people have more things going on rather than winter time, where you see more people indoors sim racing. But now that we've got a bit of a quiet moment, let's bring up the standings. So coming into this round, Thomas leading the championship by 403 points, Demori in P2 on 397, Pisano in P3 with 387, Pitchick in P4 359, Vining in P5 354, Faulkner in P6 on 336, but obviously he has retired from today's race, so I think he's going to drop down the order a bit more. Galley in P7 on 318, Orange in P8 and 312. He's unable to make it today, so well, I think that will be his drop round. Tolman in P9 has retired from today's race, so that will be his drop round as well, but sitting on 303 points. Ackham in P10 on 291 points. Raggy in P11 on 254. Brian P12 on 238. Dave in P13. Dave isn't able to make it today either. Dave in P13 on 225, and Van Hoorn in P14 on 204. I believe that is correct. Let me just double check. Yeah, that is correct. Those are the correct standings. There we go. We're pretty much almost into the dark now, but still between the top two, Thomas and Pisano. The gap has opened up to 6.1 seconds now. Thomas consistently lapping 33 threes. He's been lapping within a tenth, lap after lap. That's what you really call consistency. Pisano has been able to lap quicker than Thomas for a few laps, but then he's unable to. That last time round from Pisano was a 34-0. And well, when it comes to these races, consistency is key. Consistency is way more important than just outright pace. Vining still about 2 seconds back to Pitchick, although it was 2.6 seconds not long ago, but 4 minutes left on the clock. Not going to be enough time, I don't think, for Vining to catch up and then have to get past Pitchick. But I think if Vining can put on the pressure to Pitchick, it could cause him to crack under pressure. However, he has to get there in the first place. And he's been struggling ever since he made that mistake early on in the race. And yeah, look at the gap between the top two, 7.1 seconds. So it was back where it was after both drivers had pitted. So Pisano not making any progress anymore on Thomas, but I think he knows that he's not able to catch up. He's now lapping consistent 134s and a second off his best lap of the race. Maybe could be due towards fuel, or he's just taking it easy here. He obviously had a qualifying ban, started last, and all he needs to do now is bring it home for a P2. And also, we didn't speak about track limits. That could be another thing Pisano is on. He could be on quite a few track limit warnings here. I assume the drivers will be picking up most of the track limits from the chicanes and the final corner. Very easy to run wide there. Pisano could easily be on 3 track limit warnings here, and he's just taking it easy to avoid getting a drive-through. And we've already seen Demori, P6, picking up a drive-through penalty. So that could also be the case. Now let's see. Driver of the day voting. How many votes do we have in? We've got a few more votes in. And make sure that we are voting. There's not long left of the race, and voting will close very, very shortly. Well, it'll close in exactly a minute and a half. If you haven't voted, now is the time to do so. If you don't vote, well, you've missed out.
Right, man. Leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
There we go. Final lap for the race leader now. Where is our race leader? Thomas. Let's just have a look at him as he goes around Shells for the last time this race. And it looks like he's got a bit of traffic in front, nothing to worry about. All he needs to do is bring the car home. And he's got a comfortable buffer to Pisano behind. Obviously, will not take the fastest, the point for the fastest lap of the race, but he will extend his championship lead. And that's important. With just 2 more rounds to go after this, we're around 6 of 8 at the moment. We've got round 7 next week, and round 8, the final round. After that, Thomas going to cross the line here. P1 for Thomas. Brilliant race there from him. Started P3, finished in the lead. Pisano is going to cross the line in P2. Pitchik is going to cross the line in P3. He had a brilliant result as well. Finding P4, didn't have the best start. And, well, into the barriers he goes. DeMarco is going to finish in P5. Demori in P6. Still got 1 more corner to go. Here we go. Demori, P6. Gale, P7, Packham P8, Van Hoorn P9, and Raggy P10. We'll see if we can get some interviews with the drivers after this race, and we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, now before we go on to the interviews, let's have a look at the driver of the day. So obviously Thomas P1, Pisano P2, Pitchik P3, but the driver of the day, you guys would have put your votes in, and it looks like we've got Pisano as driver of the day. I think well deserved there. Started towards the back of the field, or started at the back and ended up in P2. So congratulations to Pisano. Let's see if we can get some interviews now with the drivers. I believe we've got all the top three waiting. Waiting for an interview. Let's have a look. There was one moment. Yeah, what a race we had, even though there weren't a huge amount of drivers. We still had some very close action on track for at least the first stint. But yeah, let's bring in pardon me, let's bring in Pitchik now. Here we go. We've got Pitchik in. Another podium for you. Great result. Last time out it was a P3, and it's another P3 for you as well. So good points there in the championship, staying ahead of Vining in P5 in the championship. You actually gained a bit of points on him. And yeah, how was the race?
It was nice. It was good, but I felt that I didn't have enough pace to try to catch William Pisano at the end, and Michael Thomas was a little bit faster from the start.
Yeah, do you think it was maybe BOP or oops? You think it was maybe BOP, or could it have been something else?
I think it's BOP. I think that Aston is a little bit weaker on this track than the cars around. We'll try the next championship another car.
Yeah, I think so. I think well, who knows? I think there's going to be a lot of BOP changes before our next championship. But next round, Watkins Glen, a better track for the Aston, I think. And how do you think?
I think it will be a little bit better for Aston, but also Mercedes is very fast on Watkins Glen.
Yeah, it's very quick there. Yeah, I think you're going to have to try and get the best out of the car, really, and well, make do with what you can. But podium, and still good.
I hope to finish P3 overall after the last round of this championship.
Yeah, it's going to be close. Currently P4. So yeah, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
There we have it. That was Pitchik. Let's move over Pisano. Here we go. Pisano finishing P2 and receiving driver of the day there from the viewers watching. So congratulations there. A good drive, for obviously, with your qualifying band starting at the back of the field up towards P2. Now you were closing in on Thomas towards the end, but I think I don't know, did you start to slow down, or was he able to continue lapping quicker? I'm not sure.
Yes, thanks a lot. This race I had the start, it was so difficult because I start from the back of the grid about a penalty on the previous race, so this is correct. But I have prepared the race very strong. I have done a first stint with low fuel to gain much more position, and then I've anticipated the pit stop. So with the second stint and also the tires, I push hard at the beginning of the stint, and then when I was second, I tried to catch also Thomas, but my tires are completely dead, and I haven't the pace to also catch the fourth position.
Your tires, yeah, that makes sense then. So I think you did have the pace, but maybe to catch up to Thomas if the tyres had lasted, because you were lapping about half a second quicker when the tyres were okay. Yeah, half a second quicker per lap. But
Yes, yes, I think yes, because also in quali, I hope that the guy made some 32, but the pole position I think was 33.0, and I'm in the race with the fuel. I've done 32.9, so my pace in this race was incredibly fast, and I think that I was catch Thomas if my tires are good. Yes.
yeah, I think so as well. Next round, we've got Watkins Glen. The Mercedes are going to be quick there again. How do you think you'll do?
Yes, I think that in Watkins, Ferrari and Mercedes are pretty same. And maybe in Oulton, Mercedes have 0.310 quickly, but for Watkins and also for the other race, I prepare very strong the race because I need to win the last 3 races to win the championship. So my objective is win all last 3 races.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but we wish you the best of luck, and congratulations on P2 this race.
Thank you too. Bye.
See ya. There we go, that was William Pisano. We've got one more driver to interview. We've got Michael Thomas in, the race winner here at Oulton Park. Congratulations on the win. I mean, you started in P3, I think it was. And, well, after that mistake from Chris earlier on, you and Demori, I believe, got past after that.
Yeah, we just kind of, me and Simon kind of had the same pace up until the pit stops, and then obviously I think Simon made a mistake on his outlap, which left a bit of a gap to then William, who just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But then it was just kind of I just kind of tried to manage the gap to him, and I believe he kind of killed his tires. So yeah, it was just a tense one that required a lot of concentration at this track.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen many drivers make mistakes already. You've extended your championship lead. I'm sure you're going to be happy with that. And going to next round, we've got Watkins Glen then. Your car's going to be quite quick there. How do you think you'll do against the Ferraris though? Because they'll be very quick there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen Pisano race there before, albeit in the Honda, but he was so fast. So I assume he's going to have the same kind of insane pace. But if we can, continuously finish around the top 3, it'll give us a good chance. In the last 2 rounds, hopefully enough of a points gap now to see it through. But you literally never know. You never know. Like we look at Simon tonight, who's had an instant and lost out lots of points, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you've had nothing but podiums in this championship so far. So if you can continue with that, your drop round isn't really going to matter too much. Whereas Pisano, who I think will be in P2 after this round, he's had a couple P4s, and of course he missed a round as well. So I think if you can continue with the podiums, you should be on the right track to winning the championship.
Yeah, just got to take the last 2 as they come. I wasn't really hoping for a good result tonight, to be fair. So it's just kind of, swings and roundabouts where the good results and the bad results can come. So yeah, just have to wait and see. It's intense, literally so intense.
Yeah, very, very intense. And your teammate as well, Vining. Oh, well, one of your teammates, or another one of the RKM drivers, had a brilliant qualifying. I mean, is that a bit unexpected, or did you expect that from Chris?
No, I expected it from Chris. I was kind of moaning on the headset because I had 6/10 in my lap.
Yeah, we saw.
I could have been P1, but I mean, it's it's all water under the bridge now. When you come away with a win, things like that are irrelevant. But yeah, Chris had the pace ever since we started, practicing. He was so much faster than me. It took me a long time to get near him. So I wasn't too so shocked when I seen him pull out a good lap.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this round. Then we'll see you next round at Watkins Glen, and that hopefully should be a good one as well.
Yep. Hopefully. Thank you.
Yeah, congrats on the win, and we'll see you
Cheers,
next round.
Bye bye.
Yeah. So there we have it, ladies and gents. That's it for round 6 at Oulton Park for the Next Level Racing GT3 Championship. We will be back live tomorrow with the IMB Raceway Championship, and we are at Hungaroring. We haven't been there for a while, apart from console, I believe. I think this is going to be the first race on PC in a while that we've done on Hungaroring. That should be a good one as well. But until then, good night and take care.